The testimony of the prosecutor's top witness just stunned Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg and his team, as it may help Donald Trump in his hush money criminal trial case. Now, this is good news for the former president, who has capitalized on these cases by treating them as a substitute for his campaign trail. So instead of going from state to state, Donald Trump has repeatedly gone on social media and news outlets covering his cases to discover how these are all being brought against him by the Biden administration. And so now the prosecution has recently had David Pecker on the stand, the former CEO of American Media, Inc. and publisher of the well-respected, sarcasm, National Enquirer, opened things up in a huge way, as he may have actually proven that Alvin Bragg and his team have no actual crime to cite. Experts argue that Alvin Bragg raised this from a misdemeanor to a felony due to what they say was Donald Trump's intent to influence the 2016 presidential elections. So Donald Trump's lawyers suggest that the hush money was merely meant to protect Donald Trump's reputation as well as his family. But here's what we know so far.
I've just stepped outside the courtroom as David Pecker continues his very specific testimony now as it relates to Karen McDougal. And what we're getting, what the jury is seeing, is the connective glue between Donald Trump and the mistresses in this arrangement, the alleged mistresses, I should say. What David Pecker just explained was that after an agreement was hatched that Karen McDougal's story would be paid for in order to kill it, he was invited to the White House in early 2018 for what Donald Trump described as a thank you dinner. And Mr. Pecker arrived with some of his business associates. He noted that Jared Kushner and that Sean Spicer were in the Oval Office when he was there, at which point Donald Trump walked him from the Oval Office along the Rose Garden to a dining area where Donald Trump asked him, "How is Karen doing?" Interestingly enough, the prosecution then showed a black and white image of Trump and Pecker walking along the Rose Garden to back up that narrative. He then went on to explain that after it was made public via an article in the Wall Street Journal that Michael Cohen had paid Stormy Daniels $130,000 of this so-called hush money. And a few months later, when Karen McDougal spoke to Anderson Cooper on CNN, Donald Trump reached out to Pecker to ask, what's going on? And I can kind of share with you an exchange that Pecker detailed to the jury, in which Trump called him and said, "Did you see that CNN interview?" Pecker said yes. And then Trump asked, "I thought we had an agreement. She can't do interviews or appear in the media." This is a rough transcript I'm sharing. To which Pecker said, "Yes, but I amended that agreement because she was being flooded with requests and I wanted to allow her to speak somewhat." And then Trump said, "So you paid her?" And he described Trump as being upset, and he really couldn't believe it. And so if we think back to those articles, it was the first time that these allegations were made public. Pecker is explaining on the stand how he tried to amend the agreement with Karen McDougal in order to allow her to speak. And I'm coming outside now to kind of update you on all of that as that testimony continues. So
now, before we get any further into this, guys, all I ask is that you guys take 1 second, hit the like button for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. And I want to just thank you always for sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. So David Pecker's testimony probably is not going to help the prosecution as much, because there was no clear indication of a crime or even a victim. So Donald Trump was sending money to his then lawyer, Michael Cohen. His lawyers say that Donald Trump marked the payments as legal expenses, which would make sense, right? So the money was then said to be reimbursements of payments that Michael Cohen made to Stormy Daniels. The decision to give money to McDougal was also the idea of Michael Cohen and David Pecker. They were concerned that the former Playboy model's story would put Donald Trump in a bad light for his 2016 campaign, so they utilized a catch and kill method on the story just to keep it quiet. Now, the catch and kill practice is this method in which stories are bought out with the intent to bury them. One story bought by Pecker was worth $30,000 and paid to a Trump Tower doorman who says that they had a story about Donald Trump fathering an out-of-wedlock child. Now, the story turned out to be false. However, Pecker felt that it was necessary to buy it out anyway, just to help Donald Trump. David Pecker also testified that he worked with both Donald Trump and Michael Cohen to aid in the former president's 2016 campaign, as well as his intent to damage political rivals. Negative ads against political rivals have long been a norm within a political landscape. President Joe Biden is doing it right now against Donald Trump. He's actually been doing it for months, which begs the question, is this a specific right that's only allowed for President Joe Biden? Other critics say that the president purposefully lied about Hunter Biden's laptop and even had more than 50 former top intelligence officials dub it as a Russian propaganda. By now, we all know about the laptop and that the laptop is in fact real. It's also something that some Americans pointed to when asked if they would be opted not to vote for President Biden back in 2020, many of which say that he would not be the president if he didn't lie about the laptop. So is this proof that we're under a corrupt justice system? Which now brings me to Michael Cohen. Legal analysts say that Cohen is a great example of a turncoat, a former ally who did not get what he wanted. So it's rumored that Cohen was expecting Donald Trump to appoint him as his chief of staff. He even told the former president about how he wanted to get out of New York. Now, in order to get Donald Trump's attention, Cohen had breakfast with billionaire Mark Cuban, who's an outspoken Trump critic. Pecker confirmed that Cohen asked him to send over paparazzi to their breakfast meetup so as to get the attention of the then president. And he was right, because this led to Donald Trump calling him, exactly what Cohen wanted. So within the conversation, it's been said that Cohen only had breakfast with Cuban to set him straight, with the former Trump lawyer saying that he wanted Mark Cuban to respect the president at the time. A source very close to Cohen quoted him in telling Trump, "Boss, I miss you so much. I wish I was down there with you. It's really hard for me to be here," end quote. Now, there are those who say that Cohen has a personal vendetta against Trump, which means he's willing to do whatever it takes to take him down. Now, Donald Trump, on the other hand, he isn't very worried. In fact, he even had time to challenge President Joe Biden to a debate because he was in New York recently as well. This was after the president said that he would be happy to debate with the former president sometime in the future. Now, Donald Trump said that they should meet in the courthouse and have the debate on national television.
I just want to say that I've invited Biden to debate. He can do it anytime he wants, including tonight. I'm ready. Here we are. I invited him to the courthouse that he has us tied up in with his administration. This is all being done through Washington. It's all a well-coordinated attack on a political opponent. But I'm here. I'm ready, willing, and able. And if he wants, I'll do it on Monday night, Tuesday night, or Wednesday night. We'll be in Michigan, and we're ready. Just tell me where. We'll do it at the White House. That would be very comfortable, actually. But you tell me where. But we're ready. He's obviously not showing up now. We heard nothing. But he said today that, I'd love to debate, but he won't debate. I don't think he'll debate. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. I'm not sure he has a choice.
Many experts believe that President Joe Biden would probably hold off on any debates with Donald Trump. The reason is because one of the main concerns from voters is his mental fitness. It will be quite embarrassing for him to fumble while facing off against his predecessor. It's actually a scenario wherein Trump could probably vindicate himself and show the American people that Biden is no longer fit for office. But what do you guys think? How would a Trump-Biden debate look in 2024? Now, as always, I'm gonna be here to give you guys the facts on everything that's happening, so that way you guys will stay informed. I appreciate you guys hitting the like button for the videos, and thank you so much for always sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll see you on the next one.